Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Wednesday, everybody.
Jeez. Don't scare me. Yeah.
You are something else. How are you, Deweese? You're on mute, Deweese.
Wheezy.
There you go.
Hello.
Wheezy, if this
Hi,
is
Deweese.
couples night, I think you and I should be the couple tonight and Jade can go stag. What do you think about that? Yeah.
We'll go for a threesome.
No, I can't disappoint two women at once. That's
Okay.
not
Stop
going to go there.
yourself, please. Okay.
I actually missed you.
Let's just get to the show because I know nobody's been doing any flying between the three of us lately.
Oh, I've been doing some flying. Not in
I
there.
don't want
No.
All right. So, you guys, I'm glad that you're all here. We've got a great show. We've got two couples, and the girls even fly, which is pretty awesome. I can't wait to hear their stories. We have Jeff and Amanda Berry, and Nick and Anessa Rasheta. And Nick will also talk about Epic Paramotor. So they're both in the Arizona area. So if you got any questions, put something in the chat. If you think of it, put a little Q next to your question so I can try to see it a little bit easier. I don't want to miss anybody's good questions that they have. So let's bring those guys in.
Yeah, we have a full
Well,
house.
hello there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi there.
Hi. How are you guys?
Good.
Great. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for joining. What do you have for temperatures down in Arizona right now?
Well, I think today it was like high of in the 50s,
Yeah.
which is kind of cold for
Really?
here. So we got cold weather too, just not like you.
It was
Okay.
very
Well,
windy.
feel a little bit better.
Very windy,
It's been very windy here as well.
crazy wind.
Yeah.
So Tori Pope's awesome. He says chicks that fly are sexy. Thanks, Tori.
Thank you, Tori.
All right. So
You know,
guys-
that's a very unpopular opinion. I'm just going to say.
okay.
You're so wrong.
All right. So we decided Nick and Anessa are going to go first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
What does that
Tell
mean?
tell us who started flying first, and so we know a little bit about your background and how you got to Epic Paramotor.
Okay. For me, it started about 5 years ago.
More than
The
that.
fascination for flying started as a kid. In fact,
Okay.
as a baby, I jumped out of the 2-story window when I could barely walk. And my mom had to rush me to the ER thinking I was hurt. And I was just fascinated. I was saying Superman as I
Yeah.
jumped.
Oh.
And then my twin brother, Noah, I was not crying. I think I was just kind of in shock for the fall. And Noah was crying because he had not been allowed to jump as well. Stopped him at the windowsill. So we've both always been fascinated with flying. He ended up getting a helicopter license to fly rotor. I got a private pilot license to fly fixed wing.
We also did skydiving as teenagers in Mexico at like
Mhm.
15.
I did see some pictures of that.
Yeah, we got into skydiving as teenagers. We bungee jumped. And yeah, when I found paramotor, I'd always thought about ultralights as the route I was going to go. But paramotoring is cheaper and it's, I think, more fun because it's slow and you can fly low. And that's what hooked me.
I have a similar story
Nice.
from my childhood. My dad had us completely convinced that he was the real Superman and that genetically we would eventually learn how to fly like he does. So we also had jumping out of window stories out of my siblings and I just thought that one day we were going to be able to fly like my dad. Yeah, he had a single propeller plane when I was a baby. But Nick,
Oh,
I
wow.
watched him fly for a whole year. Nick gets very obsessive about hobbies. And I thought this was just going to be another obsessive hobby for a couple of years, but I didn't realize he had found the thing that he was going to stick with. And I watched him fly for a year without expecting that I would join him. But then his instructor, Russ Whitman, was visiting and took me up on a tandem flight. And then I'm like, oh, I see why this is so fun. This is awesome. And that's what I was on Noah's, then Noah and Nick started Epic Paramotor to start teaching people. And I was in one of their first students. But the motor I had was so heavy I couldn't even lift it off the ground because I'm 5'1". And at the time I was 120 pounds. They don't make a lot of paramotors for smaller people. And
Right.
so I had to wait at least a month or more before I could fly. We had to trade out my motor and get a different motor. I started flying with him like a year or more after he started flying, and I've been flying for almost 4 years now.
Oh, good for you. Now, it was hard to hear you a couple times. I don't know if it's on my end or what, but who taught you? Who taught you guys?
I learned from someone named Russ Bateman in
He's in Utah.
Yep.
And he taught Noah as well. The funny
Okay.
story about Noah is I had a motorcycle, adventure bike, and Noah called saying he wanted to get into motorcycle riding with me. And I told him, wait, because my plan is to sell my motorcycle and get into paramotoring. He's like, oh, what is this paramotoring? And he went to Google and he started looking. And within 2 weeks, he purchased gear, went to training, found Russ
leapfrogged
Bateman. And yeah, he leapfrogged me. And I wasn't quite ready to sell my motorcycle because I wanted to do a trip down the Baja Peninsula. So it took me about a year
Nice.
to get to the point where we actually went on that ride. I was on a motorcycle. Noah was driving a truck and he had his paramotor in the back. So when we would stop, he would fly. and I realized I'm in the wrong sport. I don't want to be on this motorcycle anymore. I want to get in the sky instead.
It's true. You're very jealous.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like we were talking before the show started, that I had mentioned that Eric and I would drive down to Milwaukee. We talked about driving or kind of trailering our motorcycles down to Florida and then kind of taking them down to the Keys. But we didn't have that happen. But he found paramotoring, and now those two-wheeled items are dust collectors right now.
Yeah.
I love the intro that you gave, and that somebody's asking about Nick was up. We were at the Flying Circus recently, and Nick also bagpipes, and he had this wolf jacket on the whole time. That was this twin. A lot of people can't tell them apart, and they'll answer to either. I saw people come up and say Noah and start asking him questions about USPP, and he just answers them. Just answers for Noah.
Yeah.
They are identical, so no one should feel bad that they can't tell them apart.
I grew up with some identical twins too, and I was pretty much the only one that could tell them apart just because I was around them all the time. They were like best friends with me. And then one of them
as kids, and I couldn't tell them apart when we were younger. And then we re-met up older years as adults, and then I learned. Then it's easier to tell them apart. So I've known Nick most of my life. And we've been married for almost 20 years, or we've been together for 20 years now.
Nice, congrats. Do they have different personalities, or are they pretty much the same?
If you look under a microscope, they do for sure.
I think
That's it.
we're very, very similar. In fact, I always compare us to being cloned. So like if you got to clone yourself, that's what it's like for me having Noah.
Feels like his other self is out there. But yes, they are different.
But yeah, we are different, but it's subjective. So we might both be funny, but if one of us is a little more funny, then the other one's the not funny one.
It's so ridiculous.
And in a very subjective, microscopic view, it can be viewed that way when we might both be funny. We might both be adventurous, but if one's more adventurous, then the other one's labeled not adventurous.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a twin thing.
And they did go on different routes.
We are very similar.
Nick went Army police route in his adult life, and Noah didn't go on that route. So he took a very different approach to his professional life. So.
Oh, okay.
Question. Nick is the police officer.
Yep.
So can you explain a little bit about what you do at the department you're at right now?
Yeah, I've been a police officer for almost 17 years. And I started my career, like all police officers, in patrol work. Did that for 5 years. And then I got into detective work. I was a detective for the Special Victims Unit. I did that, I think, about 6 years. And then a public information officer, the ones that go to big crime scenes and liaison with the media. I did that for 5 years. And now I'm a recruiter. And I've been here almost 2 years as a recruiter.
Okay, good. Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Here's one more good question. Who's the good twin, Noah or Nick?
Assuming there's an evil one.
Nick is the evil twin.
I'm going to say I'm the evil twin, but that means I'm letting Noah be the good twin because I'm actually good and want him to be labeled that way.
And we got Mr. Jordan Honeyman in here, and he says all he wants to know is if you'll sell him that wolf jacket.
Yeah, that has to be earned. He can reach out to me and we'll figure out what that
Who
means.
has the better help?
So Lift Paramotor, he's saying, Noah, I have so many great memories from coming out and working with you guys. Jeff and Amanda, you guys are a part of those also.
Yeah. Jeff and Amanda reached out to Nick, or Jeff did. That'll be part of their story of how they convinced Nick to teach them, because he had said no at first, but Jeff was very persistent. And luckily he was, because we've become really close.
Yeah.
We do a lot of family trips now and fly together, and
Good.
integrated them into our personal life, not just flying life.
Yep.
Good. All right, I'm getting behind on my questions or the chat here. Travis DuPont wants to know, where did you get that wolf jacket?
It's a company called Wildcoat, and they we started with bear jackets. So there's a grizzly bear and a polar bear. And this year they created the wolf one. And we started with bear jackets. So there's a grizzly bear and a polar bear. And this year
What is happening? It's like repeating.
I know. We somehow got on two.
And
two
they are not,
channels.
it's not real fur, but it looks pretty close.
Well, it looked pretty neat.
yeah, very warm.
And it's like a ski jacket. If you open it up, it's like a professional ski jacket or snowboarding jacket.
Oh, cool. Jordan's like, let's talk. All right. I don't know where Steve went, but I thought he was going to be in charge of the spinny wheel, but because you guys all don't like the spinny wheel, so if Steve doesn't show back up, I'm going to have to do my name spin thing.
He must have just got bumped off.
Okay.
He'll be back.
So, what kind of equipment are you flying with? Both of you.
You start.
I currently have two paramotors I fly, a Parajet with a Moster 185, and the other one's a mini plane with a top 80. And my wing, for the most part, is a BGD Luna 2, and it's the 23 meter size.
Yeah. I have the mini plane top 80, and I just switched to an 18 meter Luna 2 BGD wing as well. And we have a couple of paragliding wings, and I just got the KISS. And I haven't used it yet, but I just got it because we go to Sand City and do ridge soaring. He has gone
I
more.
saw that. So what do you guys like better? Do you have a preference of which sport you like better?
I prefer paramotoring.
You
It's
do?
a little easier.
Yeah.
It takes. Yeah, it's not easy being tossed around in the wind.
I like them both. I think if I lived somewhere where I could drive 10 minutes to ridge soar, I would probably do it as much as paramotor. Because
Probably more often.
it's really fun.
That would seem a little more scary.
Yeah. A couple of people. I know Steve says he wants to try it, paragliding. Travis is asking or saying that he met the brothers at Flying Circus. Okay. Did he really meet the brothers?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I've been
Noah was there?
The Flying Circus 5 years now.
No, more than that. That was your 6th or 7th year. Yeah. I like memories pop up on Facebook, and it's been 6 years.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. You just said who you got trained by. So my memory that came up from 1 year ago today, my guest was Lily Bateman last year on this day.
Oh,
so,
cool.
So yes, I know Ralph and Lily.
For those who don't know, Lily is Russ's child, and she started flying at age like 12.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And his son started at 9.
Yep. Yeah, so we had Lily on a year ago. So.
Yeah, we've met Lily.
Oh, neat.
Hi, Lily.
All right. Steve, are you okay now?
Yeah, my webcam bugged out, so I switched computers.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back.
All right. So, Anessa, how did you get into it? You said you've been flying 5 or 6 years now?
Oh, it's 4 years. The first year I barely flew because it took a while to get the right equipment or just get enough opportunities. And I kind of had a slow start of getting good at it. And I remember on my 3rd or 4th flight thinking, am I just doing this so I can see my husband more often? And only because he's into it because he was so obsessed. And I started questioning, is it worth all the expense? And do I actually like this? And on my 5th flight, I realized I really do. Then all the nerves went away. The very first time I flew and landed, as soon as I landed on the ground, I went to unbuckle myself and I couldn't even grab. That's how hard the adrenaline was going. My hands looked like this, trying to unbuckle. I had such an adrenaline dump. And I'm sure everyone who's their first flight, in each flight you get a little less nervous. But after that 5th flight, I realized I really do like this. This is fun. And then, meeting people in the community, especially Jeff and Amanda, has made it even more fun because then we do it as a group. Nick learned with one of our closest friends, Scott Rowley, And so we fly with some of our friends that we had before flying. They got into it together. So that's what has made it fun for me. And I do like it now. Yeah. And then by the 30th flight, I didn't feel nerves at all.
So before, I don't know if I should transition into the berries or should I keep asking a couple questions with you guys?
Let's
Or
go to berries, and then at the end we'll all mix.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
wishing, in hindsight, we should have shared a bunch of our twin photos. Like the four of us have a ton of same clothing, and we have a bunch. We have a series going of all of us looking like twins in all the same clothes.
We should have shared the flight suit picture.
We'll make a calendar.
Yeah. Almost
That's a good idea.
After this, who's interested? Show us in the chat. We'll make a calendar.
That'll
All
be
right,
the next
so-
giveaway.
So Jeff and Amanda, tell us about you guys. Jeff, I got a hold of you. I think I found you on Facebook
Yeah.
a while back. So
Yeah.
Tell us
So
how you guys got it.
I started my obsession with aviation at like a really young age. I grew up in Florida, and so I would watch the space shuttle launch, and then I think I was probably 5, and my mom took me to see it at Cape Canaveral, and from like that moment forward, I was just stuck on aviation, and as I went through high school and into college, I always tossed around the idea of being a commercial pilot, but I just was always talked out of it by friends or family or something. And I realize now that I probably should have just done it. And there's always still time. Like I still plan on becoming a fixed wing pilot at some point. But right now, paramotoring is definitely scratching the itch. So, but yeah, so Amanda and I were actually doing errands one day, and I was kind of having like a early life crisis where I was like not happy with my career choice. And
When you had signed up for private pilot's license too, we're like, okay, we're finally just gonna, start just paying out of pocket and doing the training as we can. And so he had signed up and then didn't end up attending it.
yeah, well, so what happened was I signed up for it, and then I was like on a huge wait list for a local airport, and then the day that I was supposed to start my training, I work at Honeywell, and Honeywell announced that they were going to start doing layoffs because of the economy, and they couldn't say who it was going to be yet, but they were going to just do mass layoffs. And so my first day, I had to go in and tell them like, hey, I'm really sorry, but I can't do this because I just can't risk the financial impact of it. Yeah, I agree. PPG is definitely where it's at. I mean, since I was in this I was in this early life crisis, and we were driving, and I saw someone kiting in a park, and I all the fireworks started going off inside my brain, and it was like 10 minutes later, I was Googling, and I came across Epic Paramotor, and I just hammered them. Like it was like I was sending emails and leaving voicemails and text messaging, and I was doing all of it. And Nick was super nice he was actually on vacation in Mexico with Anessa. They were flying down there, and he actually responded to me and then sent me like a really cool picture of them flying on the beach, which just like stoked the fire. I was like, yeah, we're definitely doing this. And so he reluctantly put us into the upcoming class. And I guess the rest is history.
Little did you know, he actually tested the waters first because he had already had as many students as he wanted. And he thought, okay, I'll meet them. If they look like they actually are going to be capable and learn quickly, then I'll include them. And he had you guys come over to see. And then as soon as he met you for like 2 minutes, he's like, oh yeah, they're going to be great students. I'll throw them in.
And how long ago was this again that you started?
About 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah, and when he was looking it up, and at first it was just going to be his thing. He was going to learn how to fly, and we were just going to do the fixed wing route, and I was just going to be a passenger. But once I saw this PPG and that, I was like, this looks like so much fun. Like I'm doing it too. Like we're going to train together, and I just jumped on board as well.
So how did you guys do with the kiting and everything? Oh, Rob's in here.
Rob, hey Rob.
Rob's in Mexico.
Rob's flying down in Mexico right now.
Yeah, I was just reading that he's having a hard time getting up without an alarm clock now, and he's
Oh.
like, "Oh, you poor thing."
Poor Rob.
Yeah, we always call him our homeless friend.
Yeah.
Well, he said you just learned barrel rolls. Is that correct?
Is that true, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I've only done a few of them, but it's kind of one of those things where the first one I did it intentionally, but I didn't realize it was going to happen. I guess I thought I could like kind of ease into it, and there was no easing into it. And then I did two more, and then after that I decided that I should probably pump the brakes for a little bit before I maybe do some more research and before I get into it too much deeper. But
Everyone
yeah,
do
that was exciting.
really high. Get high before we try those things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Literally.
Literally.
Literally. I don't want to be having to say sad stories on the ends of my shows or the beginnings of my shows like I have in the past.
Right.
I'm done with those.
Yeah, and like really, whenever we first started flying, we kind of got some reality checks early on because when I don't know if you guys ever heard of Dustin, or maybe you saw some pictures of he'd always fly with his dog.
Yep.
So
Yep, I remember him.
Dustin.
We
Yeah,
trained the same.
with Dustin.
yeah, we trained at the same time as him, and we got trained through Nick, and then he got trained through Noah, but we had our first flights on the same weekend, and so it was a few months later that we were actually there when that happened, and then I think it was a month before that we were at Flying Circus, and we were there when someone passed away at that one too, and so early on, I mean, it was a pretty big wake up call, but I mean, overall, I think if you can learn from that kind of stuff and take away from it, I think that's really what the sport needs, is understanding why things happen the way they do. And so, and I know it definitely scared some people off at the time, but I don't know, I guess as long as you understand the risks, that's.
Yep. And that's with me. It's like it gets in my head, and I've seen 3 bad accidents, and the last one, I think I wanted to go help, but that one I froze. It's like I couldn't even help. I was in too much shock, and took a lot to get out of my head before we quit flying when we started getting snow. But I was pretty happy. I got back in the air 2 weeks ago, week ago again, and I was just like, get it out of your head.
Yeah.
So.
I think, at least for myself, I had a very similar experience where the next time I went to fly, I was like, I hadn't been shaky for months, because it was we were relatively early in our flying career, and I felt very confident in everything. But then after the accidents, it was like shaking, like taking off, and then, but I'm very happy that I did. I mean, it immediately just subsided and the joy came back, but
yeah. Yep. All right. And Amanda, what about you? Oh, here's a question.
This is for the
For the
girls.
girls.
I know they've already talked about how they got into the sport,
Yep.
but it's kind of a little bit more. Amanda and Anessa, how did you get into the sport, and should I really be a paramotor couple with Jordan Honeyman?
Yes.
I need more women.
I can't speak on that. I think both of us were introduced to the sport by our husbands. Like, I didn't even know it existed until Nick brought it to my attention. But yeah, I've always been adventurous, and I think Amanda has too. Like, I rode dirt bikes as a kid, and I used to be pretty intense with rollerblading, like the kind where I would jump over picnic tables and stuff. And
Nice.
I was a gymnast when I was younger, so I've been brave and athletic. I didn't even start till my 40s, so it was kind of fun to start something new.
You were jumping. Oh, I was thinking you were jumping picnic tables at 40.
No,
started.
when I was here on rollerblades, we would put ramps in front of stuff.
Yeah.
Go downstairs backwards, that kind of thing.
Wow, so you are a daredevil.
I didn't think I was, but when other friends see me one wheeling and flying or hear those stories, I guess I am.
Right.
Prior to this, I just collected belly button lint. We're all different.
Dangerous. It could burn you.
Yeah, exactly. I could start a fire real quick.
So, speaking of belly button lint, tell us about Flying Circus.
What kind of transition was that?
I don't know.
Redo.
Flying
Yeah.
Circus. It's as chaotic and crazy and nonstop as you would imagine.
Yeah, you can use any statement to segue into Flying Circus and it'll work.
Wow.
Yeah,
I would
it's,
like
I mean,
to
the
experience
night
one
it's really busy. It's pretty. It can get a little sketchy. I mean, there's planes taking off and landing nonstop to get the sky jumpers divers out into the air, and it's literally an inch from where we take off. So people are taking off and landing paramotors right next to planes. So it's a it's a little scary chaos, but it all worked. Like I that was the night I chose to just watch. But it's fun. There's
I think
balloons and flamethrowers. 2,000
Fireworks.
2,000 Christmas trees were lit on fire. It was intensely hot.
You can feel that heat from quite the distance.
Yeah, it's like we would dare each other to see how close somebody can get without getting second-degree burns.
So was there any?
Amanda ran out of gas because she didn't want to come down. She was having so much fun.
Having too much fun.
we had to go.
So was there any
rescue her in the desert.
bad? I'm sorry. What?
We had to go rescue her in the desert.
Oh. So was there any bad mishaps at all at that this year?
I don't
There
think
was
serious
one.
injuries.
So there was, I think it was actually the night that Anessa was saying that we decided not to fly. Is either that one or the night before? It was
broken ankle.
No, it was when those two pilots had a midair.
Yeah.
Oh, the midair collision.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wingtip.
Yeah, we watched that happen, and the guy that was camping next to us was the one who got pulled out of the air. But
Yeah. So
that was kind of annoying. Luckily, they were both okay.
yeah, they both walked away. I mean, they're both. I mean, it was more pride, I think, than anything. I think
How
one of
was
their wings got tore up by a prop, but I think I didn't see the wing, but I'm sure it's repairable.
So the
But-
guy that had his wing tore up, he was the new pilot.
Yes, that was his fourth flight, and we were watching him struggle in the air to get into the air. Like we were watching him try to launch in front of us, and I just like, this is not the place to fly.
Because I heard it was kind of a sketchy day to fly anyway.
Yeah, and it was very windy. Like I had decided not to fly, and most of us had just decided to kind of just watch. And so it was surprising he chose to get up in the air in those conditions. So he was just trying to fly straight. Someone else who is kind of notorious for just wing bumping whoever's in the air went up to like do that, and it kind of freaked him out, and then they collided.
Yeah. People are asking who it is. I'm not going to say who it was, but
Do you want me to say who it was?
Yeah.
he
There's a lot of stuff on.
doesn't
Facebook.
need the glory of his name being broadcasted.
I know that guy very well.
My question is for the new pilot, when that happened, I mean, you guys say he was okay, but was he okay in the head? I mean, was he mentally okay?
He ended up flying the next day.
Oh, he did.
Talked
Okay.
for a while. His adrenaline was flying. We talked to him after that was over. We talked to him for a little bit, and he was just more mad. He was just so mad because his equipment getting damaged. But then he ended up getting in the air the next day, and he seemed to be
Good.
good in the head. Yeah.
That's why I start screaming when my husband tries to tip touch me. Don't even come near me. He says, get away. And I turn off.
I have a large bubble around my
Jade, we don't need to know about your personal life. This is a pyramid show.
Excuse me, mister. Broadcast your love life.
Hey, speaking of which, you want to do a spinning wheel?
Nah, yeah. Thought you were going to say something else. All right. So we have a couple of my stickers. for the show, or Nick says he's got a couple things. Nick and Anissa said that they have some stuff.
So Noah designed these, but these are epic paramotor stickers. This is the Sky is Calling, and this was made because of Dustin. This is called Wake Up and Fly Every Day, epic paramotor. So there's
Very
two
nice.
stickers, and then also a patch that has Velcro. You can Velcro on a flight suit.
And a car decal.
So which one you want to do first?
Do one of theirs. They're probably all sick of my stickers.
Start with the big
The
Do
card.
the big one. Yeah, the big one. Grease it up there.
Bill H
It's
says he
extra
wants
greasy.
one. While we're in here, I'm going to say hi to everybody. Bill H, Jen C, Duckspit, Eric Lear, Sean Nafsker, James, Justin Windwalkers, Joseph Sibley, Hannah Stevens, Linda Anderson, Dan from I'm Flying, Wisconsin, Tori Pope, Grateful Gatto, welcome, John Wayne, Mad Sloper, Travis DuPont.
Ooh.
Wow,
It's
that
extra
wheel
And-
greasy. It might be James. Might be James.
And I want to thank the guys that have helped out and donated some money towards the show to help us get mailings out and get some new items to. Congrats, James.
All right, James.
All right,
How do we get it to
Nick-
them?
Yeah, will you send me a contact or
Yes.
something so I know how to send
I
this?
will.
Okay.
I will, James. So email me your address and I will get that over to Nick.
You want to do another one, Jade?
Sure, go for it.
Congratulations, James.
All right, here we go. The spin of this wheel is brought to you by Backcountry PPG by Trevor Steele. He pays me thousands of dollars to say this. Yeah.
Stop it. I have my own commercial that we have for them.
Well, that got awkward really quick. All right.
Again,
Man.
thank you for the parties that have donated towards the show to help keep the spinny wheel going.
I did rig this. I put, and you can see where I did it. Ooh.
Oh, it just spins
Is it gonna
so
be Tori?
slow.
We got Tori the beard coming up.
That's slow.
Ooh, come on. Oh yeah, Tori Poop.
Tori.
Give him a little sticky
Tori's
sticker.
gonna get it. Yay, Tori.
Send him a scratch and sniff Snickers.
All right.
What did Tori Pope get? Was it one of yours or one of ours?
Sure. Tori,
What do
tell me if you have one of mine already. Do you
think
want
Tori's-
one of mine or do you want one of Nick's? See if he'll respond. He's been in here talking, so
He's in here now.
yeah.
All right, we'll volunteer. He gets this one.
Okay. And which
Tori-
that's the
It's a sticker.
epic. Should I just say epic one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Epic sticker? Okay. Got it. All right. Let's just keep chatting away then. Tori, yes, you did win. You're gonna get the epic sticker.
You get
So-
this, Tori.
Send me your
Congratulations.
address, Tori, in Facebook Messenger, and we'll get that off to you. So, what have? Okay, I'll start with first. Fly-ins. What
Okay,
other
Tyler.
fly-ins have you been to?
What other fly-ins have you been to?
And what do
I've
you
been
plan to go
to.
to?
Jeff and Amanda have been to more than me.
Yeah, was that question for me or for them?
All of you.
Oh, I've been to Endless Foot Drag,
In
Black Hawk, Sultan, and here, the Flying
Okay.
Circus.
And for us, we've only been to Sultan and Flying Circus, I think.
Well, Glamis was kind of a small camping fly-in trip.
Yeah, there was a bunch of pilots there. That was
Mhm.
Okay.
We do a lot of camping just with smaller groups, not necessarily fly-ins, but we do a lot of just camping for a long weekend and flying with a big group of people.
Okay. Justin's asking, how often do you guys get to fly?
As often as we
in
can.
winter, it's more often because summertimes the sunset flights are always too windy or Or you have to wake up crazy early to be able to fly at sunrise in summers here. But in the winter, we fly like probably every weekend almost.
Yeah. We try to squeeze some in during the week too, but it's mostly every weekend for us.
Almost every weekend is flyable, conditions wise.
So our friend Dan, I'm flying Wisconsin, says y'all need to come to our Northern Lights flying up in Northern Wisconsin, July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So
You guys see the Northern Lights up there?
yeah, we can.
Wow.
They were actually saying the other night, yeah, if you go outside and see them, and it was like at 12:30 at night was going to be the best time, and I went, I'm not going out there. I can't get out of bed at that.
It's like 12 below zero at that time. So no.
Oh, come on, Louise.
No.
Yeah, we'll have to make it out there for that. That sounds cool. I love flying.
Anytime. Or if you're anytime you want to come during the summer, we've got beautiful weather. Usually July 1st through July 4th. Just kidding.
It's right during our hellfire season.
Yeah, we need to get out of Arizona in July.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. June through September is perfect up here. So we do get the hot, muggy days, and we have mosquitoes that want to pick us up and take us away. But that's the only bad thing. So
No, they had their Northern Lights flying last year. We went to it and we had a really great time. Yeah, it was really nice.
Cool.
yep, so we just bumped the week because we were dealing with a hot air balloon fest to the south of us and a big country music festival to the north of us. So this year I've got 2 food trucks coming, and then we also have the pancake breakfast in the morning, and we have some airplanes fly in midday to kind of hang out with us too while we're not flying and hang out with us. So yeah, with our EAA chapter that came up last year. So that was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Amanda and I are trying to figure out how to kind of adopt like a life like Rob, where we can just live in a camper and drive everywhere. So if we figure that out, I'll definitely be out there.
Hey, that's the ideal life.
I'm doing the exact same thing. I already warned my work about it. I was like, you're going to have to let me go full remote. I'll be on call 24/7, but you have to let me work where I want to be.
Yeah, that's like the best life ever.
Oh, and Justin's saying that we have black bears because there was a day he was our ground support and hanging out and taking videos of us, and he said he saw a bear come through the trees, and then when we were all landing, it was down on the other end of the property or the end of the runway of the airport. So
Wow.
and Travis DuPont is saying, don't eat our cheese curds, it's poison. Oh, zip it, Travis. This Louisiana guy who doesn't like cheese curds.
Who doesn't like
I like cheese curds.
Hey, so I've got a question for the berries. Well, 2 questions. First, how was training together and who did better than the other? And second, what was some of your best experiences in the last 2.5 years?
Oh boy. So from the training perspective, we were both, I think, pretty strong. We
both.
We started.
He's a natural. He was a little bit better than me, so I'll give him credit.
Clearly, you guys both were.
He picks up everything super fast, so I was shortly behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty equivalent until it wasn't until the first flights that I think I just probably got lucky. I sat too early like everybody, but I just happened to be on throttle enough to where I just kind of skimmed the ground and I was still able to take off. But Amanda had a few where she wasn't able to take off from sitting too early. And so that was the only part that where it really differed. And then since we've been flying, I've chosen to take a more aggressive style of flying. But yeah, I think we both did it pretty good. We both I don't know.
Yeah.
How many flights are you guys at about right now?
Oh boy. I have no idea. It would be. Are we? I mean, if we're not counting touch and goes, I don't. I mean,
Well,
even if we are, I don't really know what it would be.
Well, no, not including touch and goes, maybe like 150 or so.
No way, you're
Yeah.
way more than that. You
Yeah,
guys
it's way more than that.
you're
Really?
gotta be in the
Yeah.
hundreds now.
Maybe more closer to 200.
No, way more. I would guess more than that. You guys are
Yeah, because I mean, so from an hours perspective, we're both at about 150, give or take, and so, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we are kind of tied to the weekends just because we're city locked in Phoenix, so there's a lot of flying sites, but they're all pretty much 45 minutes away, and depending, like, there is a certain window in the time of year where like we get off work early enough to where we can make it and it's worth flying, but it soon becomes like it'll either get dark too soon if it's the winter time, or if it's the summer, like Anessa was saying, that the afternoons are either like our Phoenix just maintains so much heat that you can take off in the afternoon or in the evenings, but it's really trashy. It's like really bumpy and
thermals and
yeah,
dust devils and
yeah.
I'm curious about the second part of the question, Jeff and Amanda. What's been your best experiences and memories?
Oh man, we've had a lot, and what's been really cool is we got to share them with Nick and Anessa. I mean, pretty much all of them.
Mhm.
Moab, we went up and flew in Moab. That was a lot of fun.
Mexico.
We took a trip with the Rashetas and some other friends down to Mexico, and we got to fly at the beach. So we got that dream flight that we saw before we even started training. But that was
Nice.
one of our goals, so we were able to go do that.
And
Very
then
nice.
I think my favorite experience so far, and it ties to like my love of aviation, is we were invited to fly at Nellis Air Force Base for Aviation Nation a few months ago, and that was incredible. We got to like it was essentially opening up for the Thunderbirds and like the F-35 demo team and F-22 demo team and all the like Red Bull racers, and like it was a full-blown air show with like thousands and thousands of people.
I think I saw the gaggle on that one where it's like, what's going on at Nellis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are there paramotor pilots there?
yeah, that was
So
like,
it was my question. How did you guys get to do that? They shut it down for you guys to come fly in, or what?
yeah. So it was actually,
Was that when you were with Rob?
yeah,
Yeah.
Rob was with us. So
Yeah.
it was originally, there was some local guys in Nevada that were retired military that kind of had some connections at the base, and they knew, like, the connections knew they paramotored, and like one thing led to another, and the idea formed. And from what I understand, it took like months of like paperwork to get it figured out, because obviously the FAA was not super excited about this idea. And then once they got all that paperwork done, the guys in Nevada had reached out to NOAA, and NOAA was on a trip in Nepal, and so Nick, and obviously it was Nick, and so Nick reached out to us and a few other pilots, and then we had to get background checks because we were staying on base, and we had to get like performer passes so we could go in like back gates and stuff,
Equipment
and
inspection.
that all took a while, but
Yeah, when they called me, I'll just add that they basically told me they had 24 hours to have a list of people, because otherwise they'd be past the time to be able to do the background checks.
yeah.
So it's very conflicting for me, because I'm like, well, who do I get to invite to this? And there's very little time to figure that out. So I couldn't just put a blanket, and it just happened to be people that were around me at the time, or people that I just knew would be available. But once the list was formulated, I thought of all the people that I didn't invite that I wish I could have. So I hope in another year, if this happens again, I'll have more time and we can get a pretty decent Arizona group at least to go represent at the air show.
Yeah, I mean we
Very
had like a debrief afterwards, and the major that put it together was like, he absolutely loved it. He was like, you guys were great, everything went smooth. Next time I want 50 more. I want the skies full of paramotor pilots, and so
I want to come.
yeah, it was really cool. And actually, I the next USPPA magazine. I wrote a pretty long article about it, and I think it should be coming out in that, and there'll be a lot of pictures and stuff too. So that'll be cool.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Now, how far away are you guys from each other?
We live about 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, what?
It's about a 20-minute drive to their house, so not too far. They live in Tempe, which borders Mesa.
Okay, so where is the boneyard?
Oh,
That is in the Pinal Air Park.
Yeah.
It's probably an hour
Hour.
away.
Okay.
Wow.
It's south.
Is that south of you, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, about
Okay.
an hour south. Maybe a little.
Well,
yeah,
I
an hour.
I would like to see if we could get together sometime, if I ever can get down to see my parents, like maybe next winter sometime. And I don't know if we'll be driving, but
yeah.
maybe come out and watch you guys fly or something, or if we can rent gear or something, that would be amazing. Be able to
Okay.
fly with you guys somewhere.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Cool.
There was an interesting
Yeah.
question somebody asked about getting paramotors into Mexico. So if anyone's listening about trying to fly there, it is hard to get them
Oh
in.
yeah.
We have to break them down
Yep.
and sneak them in.
We're smoggling paramotors into
Yeah.
Mexico.
We did have an issue once because we used to just take them across, like fully, built up in the back of the van, and then they wouldn't let us cross, and so so we ended up not being able to take them in, and then we had to turn around. Then Noah had done some paperwork to register them as like aircrafts or whatever. That did not work. So then after that, we just break them down and hide them in my minivan with all of our other stuff like towels and food.
Yeah, just kind of put a trash bag over it.
And then we hope for the best. We don't wear any kind of paramotor hats or shirts just so they don't suspect us. But once we're there, they don't care at all.
So
I
I
tried-
heard that,
I tried swallowing a piston just to smuggle it over, and that was not pleasurable.
so I heard that they will take them, and then to get them back, you're like paying a large amount of money to try, maybe even get it back.
I would add a caveat here that the border is going to be very different at every border crossing.
Yeah, we cross it.
Okay.
There are parts of Mexico that have like tourist corridors where the rules are more relaxed. You're not really going into Mexico, you're going into a tourist zone. So Rocky Point was one of those. And for years, we were able to cross no problem with a paramotor fully assembled in a truck. And they would point at it and think that's the coolest thing ever. Then there was a change in leadership at that border crossing that decided to classify paramotors as aircraft and wanted the documentation that an aircraft would have, which is, we can't do that. Even here in the US, like there's no way to register our aircraft. So that's what made it become a problem. But I bet if you were to cross at almost any other border crossing into Baja, for example, where you're going into those tourist zones, you probably wouldn't have a problem at all. So
Okay.
the safest thing is disassemble it and don't make it super obvious. If they do see it, I've downloaded a couple photos
No,
of
we don't want this like on a public.
of people on the bio,
Get us in
swamp boats.
trouble.
Just say you're building a swamp boat. It's not an aircraft.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna have to drive your paramotor and your trike in.
Yeah, the main
And the
thing is,
props are oars, right?
I think that most of the Mexican authorities probably just don't want us taking stuff down there that we can then sell.
Oh,
We're not doing that. We're using it.
Yeah, and then the ones that will get hung up is if they think of it as an aircraft. So you just have to explain it's not an aircraft. It's a lawnmower engine, and I play with the wind. Sail a wind sail. You'd have to explain it different ways.
It's easy for him because he
Right.
speaks Spanish and he's half Mexican, lived there for years. So he
oh, there you go.
knows how to communicate with them really well.
Yeah. so lift paramotor, which I agree with him. He says you guys should come back and fly out at Outer Banks. That's where it all started. That
I would
definitely.
love that. I have
Yeah.
never been to the Outer Banks, but it's on my list of places I want to go. I would love that.
Been there twice and I love it. So
Yeah, why does work have to
we
get
did.
in the way of all the fun?
I know.
We
We
both
did
work-
kiteboarding lessons out there, and then we flew this last time out there at the airport and stuff. So that was pretty amazing.
Do they have a fly-in at the Outer Banks?
No, we just went out there, a bunch of us leaving from Moonshiners Fly-In
That would be
and flew, and then Eric and I stayed down there and with our camper for another week, and he did some more kiteboarding stuff.
Jeff and
So-
Amanda, did you guys fly in North Carolina when you went, or were you just there visiting for other reasons?
No, we didn't. We didn't end up flying. We were there for visiting friends and family and stuff. But yeah, we wanted to fly, but we didn't.
We did go say hi and
Yeah, I went and said hi.
watch them fly. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
So question
Because
for
they
you,
don't-
question for you all. Have you had any spooky or teachable moments during your flying career?
Yeah, of course. Teachable moments, like where we.
Where either you got scared, you're in a rough situation, or something that you can share with the rest of us just based on experience of something that maybe mistakes and things like that.
Have run out of gas before.
That's cool.
Definitely always check your gas levels before you get in the air.
Yeah,
And then-
run out of gas.
If you fly in Arizona, a big spot that a lot of people go to is that big.
the
Oh,
open
yeah.
pit line.
All that, the
Open
crazy
pit
line.
line.
Oh yeah, the rotor in there is nasty.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I was just gonna go around the backside, just go around it. Man, I've never been rocked around like that. That's the most I've been rocked. I felt like I was on a bucking horse when I got to the backside. So I would definitely advise.
Yeah, me and my friend got
that wind is
tossed pretty bad over there.
I didn't go inside like other people do, but that's a really incredible sight, and I highly recommend it. But just be ready in the backside.
That was like the first time I was like ever afraid of heights going over the middle of that. I was like, whoa.
Oh, you're brave.
It's really bizarre how that
Photos
works.
do not do it justice of how huge it is when you approach it with a paramotor.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, you start getting like butterflies when you're pulling up to it. It's
Yeah.
like
It's
everything's
intimidating.
yeah. It's like you just keep on going and you still don't see the bottom of it, and you just keep on getting closer and closer, and you still can't see the bottom. And
So real quick, funny point about that one. So I flew with a couple of my friends, but we all got split up. And I looked at a map prior, and out of that airport, I knew the path I had to take, but I just kind of memorized the map in my head. And I was like, how hard is this to find? I could just climb high. I can look for a big hole in the ground. And one of my friends is like, I couldn't find it. I never got to it. I was like, what do you mean? We could fly. You can look down. You can't see where this thing is. And so he never got to experience it. And I was like, oh, well.
Tyler Valls is on. He was on that flight with me, and it was his third flight when we got, and we were just following Nick, trusting him, and we got rocked around. It was pretty scary. And I think for me, that might have been like my 11th or 12th flight. I don't remember.
What was your elevation over? I mean, how high were you above it? What was your altitude above the mine?
The ground
Not
level,
very high.
Not that high.
Yeah,
probably a
I think
couple
they were
hundred.
probably maybe under 100.
Yeah, we were.
I think I was maybe 150 or so, and I hit
Wow.
it first. And I had enough time to tell them, "Hey, you guys are about to get rocked." And,
The only thing I had to do was just like gun it as hard as I could, and just
yeah, just climb, get as high as you can.
Yeah.
we were fine. We got out of
Jordan
Yeah.
Honeyman just posted something too, that he had a motor out just after he went into it, and he said he was glad he didn't go down into that because shortly after he had a motor out.
Oh yeah, I saw that. He had a motor out like soon after leaving it. Man, if that had
Yeah.
happened when we was down in there, there's deep water down there. So if you do have a motor out, land on one of the side cliff things, not down by the water.
It's
And I
making-
do believe Chris Holbert from Predator Paramotor actually foot dragged the water with Ryan
Oh.
Southwell filming that.
That's amazing.
I was at Chin when he did that and came back and landed, and the whole muffler was it was nasty because the water down there is so nasty.
Ew.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow.
Just sitting water down there.
Yeah,
What kind of mine is that?
it was an open pit copper mine, I believe. It's
copper.
no longer in commission. It's closed right
Okay.
now.
There was a question earlier about, do you ladies take care of your maintenance on your machines?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
does?
Thank you for saying ladies and not girls. I saw that question. Amanda's very mechanically savvy. She's.
I can do some stuff like I'll change the oil and the spark plug and replace the prop, easy stuff like that. But if it gets too complicated, I have to phone a friend and call in some more people to help me.
Okay.
I have to call
And-
Hillary Fair every time I need maintenance because
Hillary's
I don't
awesome.
know. Yeah.
So Wendy's asking, can both you ladies tell your scariest experiences that you've had?
Scariest experiences I've had have been watching other people. I fly pretty safe. I just like the view and I don't do any of the tricks. The scariest stuff has been watching other people close calls or hurting themselves. Yeah, for sure. And watching Nick trip, like he only tripped on the ground trying to launch with a tandem flight. I overreact to that.
Who did?
I don't want anything to happen to Nick. What about you, Amanda? Have you been in a close call ever?
I don't think I've had any like super scary moments. Watching others is definitely scary. I think the scariest thing that I've been in is probably just like rough rotor by the Superstitions, but it wasn't even. I just have a very low tolerance for bump because I'm never in it. So I think if I hit a little bit of turbulence, it kind of scares me. But I've never been in anything that I know is dangerous. It's just I'm just not used to. I'm usually fly when the wind is pretty smooth and.
Yeah, I think I shared my scariest moment was behind that pit with Tyler getting rocked around. But I didn't have a wing collapse, so we were good.
Yeah.
You brought up Superstition Mountain. My parents are snowbirds, but they were at I went to Apache Junction, but they were staying. I don't remember the name of the little town that they were in, but we went hiking. And what's the small little? It's like a hill compared. A lot of people hike it right next to
Silly Mountain.
Silly, yeah. So my son and we hiked all the way up to the top of that, and I was like, oh, it'd be so amazing to get up on Superstition, and the history of some of the stories and stuff, and seeing some of the people now jumping off of it and flying around it is amazing.
Yeah, it's an incredible place to fly. It's definitely falls into that category that Nick was saying earlier about, like, if it's like a windy day and you get close to it, it gets really rowdy. Like just from like the wind hitting the rock face and doing different things. Like I've never had a collapse there, but I've had friends tell me about them having like full or asymmetric collapses and stuff getting too close to the rock face.
Yeah, it's a beautiful mountain though too. Every day it was like a different view.
Yeah.
Amazing photos have come out of y'all's flights over there.
Yeah,
it's my favorite place to fly. I think when the
Really?
wind is right and you can get a sunset flight there. You get to the top, and then when you leave and you're going down the face of the mountain, it's towards a sunset and into a desert with saguaro cactus and a sunset. Very scenic. So it's my favorite place to fly when the weather's right.
Well, I don't know if we brought up if anybody wanted to stick around. I know the Rashetas didn't eat dinner yet. I don't know if the berries did or not. But if either of you guys wanted to stick around, we can cut the camera. And if anybody wanted to join in and just for a few minutes, I mean, don't feel obligated to say that you're sticking around. But we usually hang out for a few minutes to see if our friends want to join in. But otherwise, I'm just going to say thank you so much for taking time to meet us. So we really appreciate it. And everybody in the chat also appreciates, because a lot of them are here every week and supporting our show. and meeting everybody that's all across the country that we're talking and getting to become friends with. So really appreciate it.
Want to do any more spinny wheel, or are you good?
I still have merch.
Nick,
Okay. I've got a patch and a sticker.
They could go together.
Sure.
I would, for couples night, I would close. If anybody wants their significant other to start flying, get them on a tandem flight. That's what hooks me.
Definitely. I agree.
The spin of this wheel is brought to you by me. Get all your unsalted butter with hot butter. Yeah.
So Nick, which one are we going with here?
Sticker.
The sticker? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the one that says "Wake up and fly every day."
This
Okay.
one's inspired by Dustin. Dustin's life.
Yeah. Then they had made that before he passed. Him and Noah worked on that together.
Oh, come on, Kelby. Nope. Come on.
Greased it up really good.
I can't see. It's
gonna
going to
be
be
Sean.
Sean Gasker,
Yep. Looks like so, Sean.
a paragliding dude. Oh, he's a paramotor dude. He's my
Sean.
Congrats, Sean.
Congratulations. And I got one more.
One more. All right.
This is a
And that's
Velcro
the patch.
patch.
This is
The
a
Velcro
patch.
you can put on
Flight suit.
ready to go onto a flight suit.
Nice.
Spin of this wheel is brought to you by Northern Lights Paramotor. If you want to train with Eric Lear and roll the dice and see if you die or not, you can get with him.
And take a tandem. Try out the sport.
Do you
I'll
guys
try
tandem
anything
on,
5 times.
do you guys tandem
Yeah.
on a trike or on foot launch?
Trike. Yep.
Motorcycle.
A Zenith. Montana's in the house. I didn't know that. Hi, Tim.
Tyler does not have enough vowels in his name. Ooh, we got I'm flying Wisconsin.
Oh,
Man, you're
It's gonna
so
be
close,
Dan.
Tyler.
Oh, we got Trev maybe.
Maybe
Ooh,
Trevor.
Trevor.
Oh,
All right. Patch for
way to go, Trevor.
Steele.
All right.
Remington Steel.
All right. So thank you very much for the giveaways tonight, you guys. Appreciate that. Everybody is happy with having paramotor stuff to wear from other people. It's pretty fun. Next week, I believe, hang on, I'm checking. Oh, next week we will have Para Orange, Karen Close back on to talk about her business and her flying
No.
again.
I'm skipping next week. I don't need to hear about her. I've had enough of Karen.
She does wing bags and she does covers for paramotors and trikes and everything like that. She bought the Para Orange business and she's doing pretty good. So
we have
We had
one
her
of the
on.
wing stocks. It's like the best wing stock ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
It works really well with low wind.
She's making me my wedding dress. So even if it rains, I'm going to stay dry. It's going to be amazing.
Good.
But it's orange.
What if it's a woman?
My bridesmaids all have to be redheads to match.
That can be arranged.
Yep. Oh boy. All right. Nick
Oh,
and
it's gonna be your
Anessa, where
bridesmaid.
can we find you on social? What?
Never mind.
What?
Where can you
Where
find
can we
us?
find you on social media? Yeah.
Oh,
Nick is the only one with public account.
yeah, mine's public. It's Nick Rasheta.
NIK.
Yeah, Nik Rasheta.
And actually, I have a
And,
TikTok I post every once in a while. I think it's,
Yeah,
Do you?
I don't even remember the name. But Nick tags me.
my
so
TikTok is Nick Thor Rasheta. Thor is my middle name.
It's his actual middle name
So
given
that's
at
just
birth.
my
Pretty
full
cool.
Nick Thor Rasheta.
I wanted to ask that. That's pretty cool.
That was his birth.
And you guys do a lot of stuff on Instagram.
He does, yeah.
Mhm.
You post a lot of your stuff on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
follow Nick on Instagram. He's got a good Instagram.
All right, Jeff and Amanda, where can we find you guys?
Yeah, so I'm
Uh-oh.
Jeff Berry _ on Instagram, and that's pretty much where
Okay.
pretty much only where I think it's probably linked to Facebook, so it probably like gets posted on Facebook too. But I rarely check Facebook, so it's Instagram is where I'm most active.
No, most of your stuff was on Instagram because that's why the short little videos, the narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So
my Instagram,
Amanda.
Yeah, my Instagram is amanda.n as in Nicole .berry.
Okay.
And same with
And
Jeff.
I know she posts on there too.
I post on Instagram and just share both at the same time.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope that I can meet all of you someday soon in our travels and flying.
And if you want to find me, you can look me up on Craigslist. Yeah.
It's only scammers on Craigslist. I don't know.
There you go. That's where you find it.
He's moving to Marketplace.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. And Deweese, where are you at?
YouTube, paramotorwoman.com, and Facebook, Deweese Milstead.
All right. You need to get some flying in now that you got some warmer weather, girl.
Yeah, as soon as the wind quits blowing, it's blowing like crazy.
Yeah. Get ready so you can come up here and fly with me.
Yeah.
All right. And I am at Facebook at Jade Lear. And also you can find me at Instagram occasionally at Flying Flamingo. I think it's 12, and TikTok also. I have been doing some YouTube shorts. Check those out. And also don't forget about my tomahawktees.com graphics, clothing that I've been designing, and coffee mugs and stuff like that. And you can purchase right on there. And I've got the cute little paramotor guys that you can purchase and get shipped right to you. And what else? Anything? Steve?
Hey, Jade.
Hey, what?
If we don't see you on there, we'll see you in there.
In the air.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night and see you next week. Love you all and fly safe.
Yeah.
Baby, go flying high, we're flying high, flying high. Baby, go flying high, we're flying high, flying high. Till night becomes day, I'm gonna show you the way to the queen of the dance floor. So move around. I'm gonna take you to my favorite bar and kiss you till your head is in the stars. So will you show me how you make your moves and how you dance your body to the groove? Baby girl, you know it's